Hello, everyone, and welcome to Steve Couper's podcast for aspiring real estate investors. In each episode, we connect with seasoned investors and industry subject matter experts that are eager to share their experiences and tips and tricks for success when investing in real estate. And today, I am super excited. My guest today is Kiran Kaur, also known as the Wealthy Nurse. She's the CEO of Broadway Living. She's on day 123 of her gym workout. She's persevering all the way through. And I think what she's focused on here is preserving her health so she can enjoy her wealth. I love that.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah. So Karan is the owner of an 11 unit or working on an 11 unit project in Strathmore, Alberta, an eightplex project in Alberta. She has a 2 unit turning into an 8 unit in St. John, New Brunswick, and a 4 unit she's turning into a 14 unit there as well. She's also the owner of a care home in Saskatoon, and she lives in Langley, BC. How amazing is that? You are working across this country, investing in real estate from one end to the other. Karan, I am really looking forward to talking to you about all of these things. But before I go on, did I get everything correctly?
I agree. I am just a neighbor of Surrey. I'm in Richmond.
Richmond. I went all over the lower mainland and missed you.
I love Surrey. Yes, yeah. Thank you so much. It's amazing. You are I have seen your podcast and I just always wait for the next one to come. So thank you so much for inviting me on the podcast. Yeah.
You're too kind. And speaking of which, before I forget, folks, if you're watching this and you like what you're seeing, please do hit that like button down below. If you want to impress your friends, you might want to share it with them. And please, please, please hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate it very much. Karan, maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into real estate investing.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much, Steve. So I came on a student visa in Canada in 2011. And I came from a very small town, and English is my second language. And coming from very small town, and I came in April in, I think, best province, one of the coldest province in Alberta, and then in Edmonton. So you can imagine me coming from very like in a developing country, India, very small town, English second language, and going through that, bus stop from one part of the city to another, going through trains and different schedule. And it was another planet. It feel like I'm on another planet, that struggle I had to go through being, in India, you are very much dependent upon your parents. And when you come to another country and you have big dreams and you are in contact with some of the people some are on your side, they want to see you grow. But some people, you don't feel like you belong there. So I went through so much struggle. Then finally, but I always had this passion. I want to do something for myself, but I want to grow bigger. And I came to this country. I want to, this country has, as a woman, has given me so much. And I always had this passion. But the first thing I had to do was change myself, grow myself, because I had this very low self-confidence that I felt like I don't know anything and I don't deserve this. So I had to, work on really big on mindset when I first came. And so it's always been until now. And I feel like, it's always been a journey. The first journey starts within yourself. And the second, and there's another journey that happens outside, and I think we are all growing. And real estate, you are in a growth phase, always in a growth phase. And you feel people who are growing and you grow with them.
There is so much in what you just said. I too resonate with the statement that you first need to start focusing on your mindset. It is key, I think, in probably far more aspects of our lives than we care to consider, but you really notice it in real estate investing, where you need to have the courage to do something that you may not feel confident in doing, yet you know it's the right thing to do, right? So you're stepping over the ledge almost all the time.
Yeah.
You've taken on some huge projects. That mindset must have, the training and the studying in yourself and the building your self-confidence has truly worked.
Yes, I agree. And then like my parents are teachers, and my mother-in-law used to be my teacher, when I was in India. And so I always had this huge, like respect, you can say. And you can see Indians have their like, in India, doctors and teachers have their like high standard. They are like, very well respected, in the society. And when somebody mentioned to me that, you can do something in real estate, but you need to learn. And then I landed on, I came across Alfonso Cuadra, and then he became kind of like mentor. I look forward, I learned from him, and like he changed my life. I feel like without a coach, without a mentor, you're very limited to, within yourself, because sometimes you kill your own dreams, because like in family too, like your husband, like in there, my husband, he will suggest something to me, or I suggest something to him. We don't have anybody else to tell us that you can do this. I would tell him, no, you can't. We're gonna hurt ourselves. We're gonna lose our money. And I have never seen somebody, you know, doing that. So I think it didn't happen before. And once we came, learn about Alfonso Cuadra and then other people like investors like you, we saw them growing. And then I said, if they can do it, we can also do it. And so that was the thing that, learning from other people and, like a bigger pockets, that rain community, and then the other like coaches like Michael Ponte and all these people who have done really, really good in the real estate, And I never met Michael Ponte, but I saw him on video with Alfonso. But it's always inspiring to see what these investors have done in their life, and we can also, do that. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. It's actually these I guess they're kind of icons, in our community here, the Alfonsos and Michael Pontes and such, and Patrick Francie. But these are all people that were where we are once upon a time,
Yes, yeah.
and not too long ago.
Yes, yeah.
And
We all start from somewhere. Yeah.
that's the beauty of it all. They're very real, very down to earth. The community is, I think, very supportive, and that's one of the
Mm.
beautiful things. But Karan, I think one of the biggest obstacles in my mind that I've been working to try and overcome is long distance investing. How to do this interprovincial, and I'm living here and I want to invest there. How to build self-confidence, how to build a team, how to build trust. There must be so much you can talk to about this subject. Why don't we start with St. John? Tell me about how you got it in your mind you wanted to invest on the other side of the country, and you gained the confidence to leap.
Right. So I was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then in one of the paragraph, he mentioned that he underwritten like 100 properties, and then on one side he wrote pros for every single property, and one side he wrote like, what's wrong with the property. So the same thing, I said, okay, if Robert Kiyosaki did that, like you agree with the quote, if similar actions bring similar result,
Yeah.
I started doing that. Okay, any property I write, I'm gonna start doing that. I put on my sticky notes, I will stick on the wall. This is a property, 12-unit building. These are the plus side, these are the negative side. I keep on doing that. I did like Alberta, Saskatchewan, and BC throughout. I was all over the country. And because when you initially start, the most important thing is you need to pick a market. At that time, I only had a line of credit. I didn't have any cash money. And sometimes people think that, like the nurses make a lot of money, but most of them goes to the taxes, and the rest, because it's a high tax bracket, rest goes to the bills. And, so there's hardly any money left. So I didn't have a lot of money, but I wanted to make sure that if I'm doing something, I know I need to pick on the market. I need to pick a strategy that works for me with a small amount. I'm not afraid of making mistakes. And once I make a mistake, I admit that. I get better on the second time. So my feeling was, let me start with the small. If I'm gonna buy this, 200K property, something goes wrong, I can recover back. If something goes wrong on this $2 million, it's going to take me a couple of years to get me back on track. So the first property I came across, there's a wholesaler. It was the duplex project, the first project I bought. And that was the thing I liked. It was a vendor take back project, and it was a small enough that I can start. And the other thing I noticed that it was all 3 bedrooms. For me, I was in BC. I could not buy anything for 200K. Even the one condo unit is K, and then it's negative cash flow. So this 200K property in St. John was cash flowing, and all about 3 bedrooms, like total 6 bedrooms. And then it was vendor take back, like all these plus points. So I decided, even if it's like if I buy something in BC, I'm not gonna go every single day to look. So why don't I start small?
Yeah.
Go there. And then I started making calls to tradespeople. If something goes wrong, like property management company, who is there to support me? So I found a really, like as real estate investors, all these, the community is very closely, they look after you, and they're there to support you, and they're there to guide you. And I still remember some of the investors will, look after me and underwrite deals like at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock at midnight, because we have this 4 hour time difference. So that was huge, huge, help. So that's how I landed up in Saskatchewan. So not Saskatchewan, St. John.
Yes. So that's and that you did that was it 2, 3 years ago?
It was, yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So and now the project is evolving. You are transforming this duplex and this fourplex, increasing the number of units in each building. How's that going? And what are you experiencing in that kind of construction development kind of project?
So land development, I'm going to be honest with you, land development is very slow, and it's kind of dance. It's kind of you go this way and the city wants this way, and you maneuver, you dance with the city. So if the city says 1 + 1 + 1 is 3, and you say, okay, 1 + 2 is also 3, so they are right, you're wrong. So you go with the city, whatever they're looking for, you go with that. So we had a huge challenge, like once you are creating more units on any piece of land, because now you need excess amount of water, and you have more drainage and sewage. So what we were proposing, that we did not want to have bigger pipes for storm water and sewage and stuff, and they were saying, no, you have to. So what we were doing as an investor, we were trying to save money, and they said, no, you need that. And because it's like, also the whole like the city is developing, and but the end of the day, we wanted, okay, we will do what you're looking for. And the project, that's why the drawings and all the parking, and then stormwater management and the fire marshal approval on existing building takes longer compared to what you can do on the raw land. And so that's where we are working on the surveyor, and finding so that we have enough, with something excess water comes, we have enough drainage available.
And so, I mean, the challenges you're facing are still all worth it as you're in the process of adding additional units to the building, you're changing the value of that building.
Yes, yeah, because the construction, between what we are going to put in and what the building is going to be worth, there's about like, there's 500K equity build up. So I'm more than happy if I'm sitting and only, I have spent only like 10K for the drawings and everything. If 10K spending, and then that's giving me 5K equity, I'm happy with that.
It's
Yeah.
a good return on investment, right?
Yes, yes.
And then in Saskatoon, you've got an 11 unit, no, beg your pardon. In Saskatoon, you got the care home. So you've got your hands in so many different so many different provinces, and I guess it's like an asset class, isn't it? All of its own with the care home. Tell me about
I agree. So, because I'm a nurse, and I love real estate, so I wanted to see what can I do healthcare, healthcare plus real estate. So, it made sense that let's do senior care home. And so there are group homes, there are, acquired brain injury, and then like different kind of, like you can facilities you can open. But I felt more comfortable with seniors. because I have seen those. I worked there in, all those facilities. So that was, I felt, and I lived in Saskatoon for 7 years, and I knew a builder who already had a land, and we did a contract with him. I really liked that builder. And in real estate, I feel like the most important thing is the relationship, whether it's your tradesperson, property manager, or realtor, mortgage broker, whoever it is, if you want to go far in your life and make sure you take care of your clients. So the builder really took care of with our previous bills in the past on, like single family properties. So I always asked him, I'm going to buy your lot, the care home, whether you sell to us or let's build together. And he said, okay, Kiran, whenever you have this 400K down payment, you come to me. So he said to me in 2015, took me how many years? Like 2025. So it took me 10 years to find a partner to get to the money.
Oh, I love it.
Because even when you talk about today, I do not have 400K down payment, because that's what when you exchange your time for money compared to when you invest in real estate, there's a difference. On one side, in real estate, you build like 500K equity. On the other side, you work and there's not enough, money available to invest unless you refinance your another property.
So, Karen, you've recently, I believe, you've recently retired from nursing and into investing full time. Is that right?
Yes, yes, yeah. Thank you so much. And I feel like it was a challenge, but a lot of my Zoom calls happened on my night shifts with the New Brunswick investors and New Brunswick mortgage brokers, and because of the time difference, and I felt like I wanted to give back, to give my, like spend more time with my kids, but I also wanna, look into my, another passion like senior care home and real estate. So on the first few properties, I looked on my Excel sheets. How much money do I need so that I can replace my nursing, a paycheck? So from full time, I kind of slowly went to part-time and less part-time, and then casual. And then I said, okay, so if I get self-employed, let's see how, if I sometimes there are big expenses. I didn't want to just go, like just leave nursing, and then I became self-employed. And then I realized I don't need to be self-employed too, so I can focus more on real estate and then and on a business. So now it took some time, but it happened because I always paid attention to my Excel sheet, like my income and expense and how much I'm spending, how much I'm making. What can I do so that I can make more and spend less? Yeah.
Well done. Well done. More big steps all the time. And so you're living in Richmond. Have you considered purchasing any properties in this province, or is this not the favorable market? Like you were mentioning.
I love BC. BC is a great province. The one good thing about it is, like construction cost, right? Like when you are doing in Ontario, Alberta, and Saskatchewan, any other province, we have a winter construction cost. Like we have this like very short amount of time that we can build something. When you do in BC, we have a lowest construction cost per square feet because of the winter, and then all the supplies are available, like lumber and everything, right? But our land cost, I need to build more units to make sense for the land. So I'm working on building my net worth, and I'm building on my, couple of refinances, and then we will be able to get in a position that we can do more units, because end of the day, I feel like you can do any project. You can do bigger project, you can do smaller project, but you need to grow into that person, right? Like you need to be that person that being a 4-story and 6-story. It's very, if you go really, really, really fast, and you can also come down very fast too, and
Very true.
I want to be in a position that I should be okay to have even put one of the high risk properties 50% down payment, so that only 50% is my mortgage. I want to be make sure that if my 30% of my tenants don't pay the rent in a province which is tenant friendly, I should be okay. I want to make sure I'm keep on paying the mortgage payments, doesn't matter what happens in the market. And I think sometimes it feels like you are going slow, but always remember, slow and steady wins the race. Yeah.
Steady wins the race. I love it. You, I think, posted something at one point in time. Real estate is all about people, people, and people. Tell me about that.
Yes, I like, you and me talking. I'm learning so much from you, and like we are always sharing some insight, like this strategy, like running the numbers, right? Like we're analyzing deals. I feel like it's a collective mindset. Sometimes I may look at a property in a different point of view, and like I'm gonna tell you one story. There was a one property, it was like 1940s built, and then I was looking at a point of view as a buy and hold. And then another investor, I really admire, and he was looking at a from land development point of view. And he said, no, we like 1940s building, we're not gonna do buy and hold. We are going to demolish, and this is the price of land. Whether the building exists or not, we're gonna buy it at a price of land. And I feel like that collective uh, you know, ideas or the insights, because that person has like 20, 30 years of, experience in land development. And then, when somebody's, new into land development, being in, 5 or 6 years is entirely different. It's like collective mindset, experience, and then like concrete and wood construction, right? Like you learn from these people who have already owned these properties for 40, 50 years. They see there's like water leakage, like there is a heat loss and like so many things. So I feel like it's all about people on the knowledge side, and also on like real good mortgage broker. Like when you are in a good connection with a mortgage broker, they give you discounts and like all those perks.
It's important about, you're right. People, people, and people. You're
Yeah,
very,
it's all
very,
about like sellers, right? Like finding the deals, sellers. Closing on the deals, lawyers, mortgage brokers, realtors. Like realtors have their favorite investors.
our teams. We need to make sure we've got a good, solid team. And I think, the team is something that transforms, right? As you're on the hunt to try and find a property, you've got one team of people you're working with, but once you've acquired it, your team is now into the stabilization and the maintenance, the handyman, the property manager, et cetera, bookkeeper maybe for maintaining that property and that investment. That's your team. So your teams change, the people change, but you need to make sure that you're looking after your people, including your clients, right? Those tenants that are staying in your building, making sure they're well looked after so that they're giving you good referrals and continuing to pay the rent. That's what you want.
I agree. You're working in Edmonton, right? Your team has different skills. Your team is doing different things. And imagine like, you're working on the 32 unit, right? Like you're working on 32 unit, doing all by yourself. Like you can delegate, like it's a team. And I feel like real estate is like a um, cooking a really perfect, delicious dish. It has all the ingredients, and even one ingredient is missing. A final dish, like the final product is not as delicious. It's not great. So it's a collective, and when everything comes together, it's amazing.
Perfection. I love it. Hey, so day 123 in your gym workouts, how's that working out for you?
It's been challenging. But I feel great, and in the morning, now it has become a habit. First few days, I felt a lot of, leg pain, back pain, and sometimes it was more stress. And like I had million other things going on, and I just didn't want to go, feeling lazy, feeling sleepy. And I feel like, who cares whether I go to gym or not? I'm not gonna feel great. Then something inside me pushed me. If I don't do it, then I will be the same person what I was yesterday. I need to do something different today if I want something different tomorrow.
I love that. That's perfect. And just for the record, I look for you every day, and I'm giving you the thumbs up for every day that you've hit the target.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I am like, I am like, okay, if somebody knows me from, I don't know, like 8, 9 years ago, I was one of the laziest person. I would just like, do the minimum amount of exercise, walking, like minimum amount of stuff I have to, just being on my own comfort zone, and I had multiple gym memberships, and I would call my friends, call me when you're going, otherwise I'm not gonna go. Just pull me out from my room and maybe give me warning or call the police or do something, but take,
Well,
so
you know what? It takes a little bit of more than a little bit. It takes willpower.
yes,
Get
yes,
yourself up and go do it. And I understand this myself. I personally am motivated to want to and need to actually make sure I consistently do.
yes,
So
yes,
those routines, I think, help.
right.
There's a routine you get into with the gym membership. There's a routine you get into with real estate as well, where you're looking at deals, where you're trying to raise capital, talking to other investors, where you're visiting properties or talking to property managers. It's your job, right? As you take this on full time, I won't say job, that's the wrong term, but it is
Your life.
your business, your life. It is what
Yes.
you're motivated and focused on doing. How do you juggle all of that with young children?
So my kids, they go to school. In the morning, I drop them off, and then right after I have to go to gym, otherwise I cannot come home. And we only have one car because if we had two cars, then I have to make more money to pay for that car. So we only have one car. So my husband doesn't come home until we've both finished our gym. And then I have this my journal every day. I write something I just got from Dollarama. So this is the best investment for $4. I would highly recommend everybody doing that. Every day what I did today, and I will write that. And then I had my list of things to do. And then when kids come home, I close real estate, and then get to spend more time with them. And not a day goes by then I don't remind myself, if I do not do good investments or real estate, I'm gonna lose this time. I'm gonna lose reading a book with my kid. I'm gonna lose that opportunity, that memory that I will get to create with them, cooking and baking with them. So kind of like not fear or something, but that also motivates me, and I think you make a time, you create a time. And the other thing, what I did earlier, old me was spending so much time on shopping. I got rid of my shopping, so everybody will see me in these like same type of jackets and clothes, not because I don't have more, but I have made my life so simple that I don't even have to think about what I'm gonna wear, and got rid of so much stuff that I was spending cleaning up and organizing. So I think minimalistic life has made more time available for real estate.
What book are you reading today or now?
I'm reading this real estate investing, little book about real estate in Canada.
Nice.
It's by Don Campbell, and I'm on page 39. I love this book because, like this book is about market cycles and what is like about in a particular neighborhood, what goes up and down, like what happened to Calgary and what happened to Edmonton, what's happening to BC right now. So they are talking about like what has happened already, and we can see the market cycles. Perfect time to buy in BC right now, buyer's market, Yes.
It's important to actually understand that. And as investors, I think if you can understand the market cycle, then you understand what strategy to employ on what asset class in what market when.
Yes, I agree. And how about you? What book are you reading?
I just picked up Economic Facts and Fallacies.
Okay, and the author is okay,
Thomas Howell.
Thomas Well. Nice.
Oh, I'll let you know.
Yes, yes, and perfect. And we can exchange other thing. I really like was Carnegie's book, How to Influence, people. And I can keep reading that book every single time I learn something new.
You know, it's true, right? And it's actually, that's my career, right? My entire career has been how to influence people without authority. Really,
Nice.
it's a job description for the project manager that I
Yes, yes.
am.
Like you're doing amazing job.
So, couple of questions left. So I always like to ask people what's their why. I find such fascinating answers. Everybody's got their own, and yet we're all start out with something very similar. I find the longer you spend looking at it, thinking about it, it grows and it evolves. You've been
Mhm.
doing this for a while now. I would love to know your why, what it is you're doing, what it is that's moving you and getting you up in the morning to go through your routine. And also that definition of success. What is that going to look like for you? How are you going to know when you've succeeded?
Yes. So my why is the feeling that I get when I feel high. When do I feel high? When I have done something what I have not done before. Like when you see a kid has always been crawling, and that the happiness on the face of a kid when he takes that first step walking, that feeling of accomplishment, that keeps me going. I when I bought the first duplex property, the feeling of accomplishment, and then the joy, and then the first land development deal, and like the first, like the first transaction, like a passive investing, and then growing what I was able to do before, what I'm able to do now. That is my why. Because my why is that feeling, the feeling you get from accomplishing something, and the growth is why. Because material things, bigger house, bigger car, more clothes, more expensive, more money, these are things to have a why, because these will change. Bigger house, somebody will always have a bigger house than you. Car, there will always be a bigger, more shiny car. So then there is always chasing, and you don't feel happy. For my why is that feeling of the feeling you get from accomplishing something, the growth inside that happens, and the joy you get when you share something, you see other people grow, right? So
Oh, it's beautiful. I love
thank
that.
you.
Karan, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, how should they go about doing that?
So you can reach out, send me a message on Facebook. It's Kiran Kaur, and I'm sorry, there are a lot of Kiran, so you can so you can type in the wealthy nurse, and otherwise you can send me a message, Broadway Living Inc. at gmail.com, and I'm more than happy to share whatever I know. If I don't know the answers, I can do my best to connect you the next person who is the expert on that particular.
That's great. Well, Kiran, it has been an absolute joy spending this time with you. Thank you so much for being my guest. I hope to
Thank
have
you.
you back some point in the future. We can talk about your next deals.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Steve. It's always, amazing what we have accomplished and what we can do in future. And it's all about people, people, and people. And it's always pleasure to get to see you.
Thank you so much. Bye now, folks.
Thank you.